Today we're making a start on building our bed, which is going to run along widthways at the back of the van. Now we've got a medium wheelbase L2 H2 Fiat Ducato, so we could either decide between a permanent fixed double bed running across the back here and a smaller kitchen living area, or a bigger kitchen living area, and then doing something slightly differently with the bed. So what we decided to do was to have the bed basically a pull-out bed, so it'll be fixed in place permanently in the back half here, and then it will pull out over the top of the worktop to provide a double bed for when we want to sleep, and then during the day that will come back over this side, giving us a seating area and additional worktop. So a bit more of a complicated bed build for us, but it shouldn't be too bad. The plan is to attach a significant piece of wood along here to form the basis of the entire bed. We've got riv nuts already set up here, so to give maximum strength in terms of attaching it. And then what we need to then work out is the height of the worktop, and then what we need to do here to bring not only the cutout here for the bed at either end to give us extra width, but also where the sliders are going to run so that they all end up at the right height. So it's going to be interesting, but number one job is to fit the permanent batten across here and on the other side, so we'll get going on that. So we cut our wood now into two pieces, one for each side. Both of those are 135 centimetres in length. The next stage is the complicated bit, because we've got to try and work out where we're going to drill through for the M8 bolts, which are ultimately going to screw into these riv nuts, and also these body threads as well. They're also M8, so we're going to use those as well. So there's 7 points we're going to screw into over here, and we need to make sure that they're all aligned on the wood so that we can go and prep that. Now for our other battening we use Play-Doh, where you push that against the riv nuts, it creates an indentation in the Play-Doh and you know where to drill. For this, it's a heavy piece of wood, we need to try and make sure it's level and exactly right, so that's not going to work, I don't think. What we decided to do instead was to cut out a piece of paper exactly the same size as the wood. So the plan is we're going to hold that up to where the wood would be, so we can kind of get it in the right place, tape it into place, and then we'll use a pencil to trace over the riv nut points, and then we'll use those to drill through or mark onto the wood and then drill through from there. So hopefully this will work, not sure, but we're going to give it a go. Right, that paper idea didn't work, so we're trying another idea with a thinner, lighter piece of wood, exactly the same length as the big bit. We're going to use the Play-Doh method on this because it's easier to manoeuvre. Get this right, drill this one, test fit it. If that works, we can then use that as a guide for the big bit of wood. There's our Play-Doh with our indentations in, which actually worked okay. So on this small piece of wood here, we can drill through, and then that's going to make our template, and then we can verify the level once we mark it onto the big piece of wood below. So we've drilled and test fitted the small bit of wood, so the next thing is to mark on the big bit that's going to actually be fixed, so we get the holes in the right place. We've established that this small bit of wood here is actually slightly not level, so what we need to do is bring it down on this end. These holes are a little bit too high for level, so we've clamped it on straight against the big bit. We've drawn a pencil line down here, and then what that means is when we loosen the clamps, we can bring this small piece just down a bit, work out by how far, because of the distance between the pencil line and where we move it to. It only needs to be about 2 mil, I think, whilst maintaining this end in exactly the position that it is now. And then that way, if this all makes sense, the holes will actually be all level against the larger bit of wood below. We've drilled and countersunk the first side, and what we need to do is make sure that the other piece on the other side of the van is dead level, because obviously the bed's running across and we need it to be as level as possible. The van has got no reference points really, but what we're going to do is assume that the holes either side that we're using for the riv nuts are in the same position and are level on each side of the van. So we've clamped the two pieces together. We'll use the top one as a template, drill through into the bottom one, and then all the holes are in exactly the same place on both pieces of wood, and I think that's as good as we can probably get it for now anyway. Now we've got the main beam in for the bed on this side. We're going to do the other one in a minute, but it's all in place, extra strong with the M8 bolts through the riv nuts here. I now need to think about two things. One, how I'm going to actually install the bed frame, including the bit that slides out to here and back to the halfway point with the slats across, and then also how I'm going to do the cutout here, which is going to be at the top and the bottom of the bed to give us that extra depth. There's a void behind here down to where the van metal is. So what I'm going to do is I've cut an angle on these bits of wood. I'm going to glue those in place, obviously cut them down to size so that these are flat with the top of this. And then what I can do is use some 12mm ply then to create a platform that runs all the way along here, and a nice flat area with the additional support of these behind it to give it a good solid foundation. And then what I'll do is have the bed frame run along the top of this, so it will pull out to here, to the front of this, the big plank here, and then back along the 12mm ply back to the middle point. So we've got our main bed batten in, topped with 12mm ply to create the base of the cutout. With the mattress on top of this, we don't want to eat into this height too much, so this will be the base of the bed. This is where the mattress will lie at this level, which means I'm going to need to basically attach a piece of wood somewhere around here strongly into this piece, which will form the resting point for our bed rails, which will slide backwards and forwards because the bed's going to pull out, don't forget. And then so I need to make sure that's low enough so that the slats on the bed base are level with the plywood over here. These will then slide like that from a closed position to an open position. Ultimately, when it's open, the bed will slide out and cover this entire area, which is 135 centimeters in length. With the cutout, there's going to be a few strange corners, so we're going to go with the custom mattress that's shaped to the exact shape of this particular area to maximise the width and the depth. So that's the plan. For the bed frame, the sliding bed frame, rather than using wood, which I think might expand and warp and do all sorts of things, I'm looking at using some aluminium extrusion. It's a bit more expensive, but I think it will provide a longer term, more reliable solution.
So we've just quickly fitted the rail with a couple of screws so that we could put these aluminium cross struts in place and make sure that they fit for the bed. So this is going to be the size of the bed when it's all pulled out, and then you can see here this is one of the slats we're going to use on top, which will level nicely with the recess here. So then we need to now build the slats across from this front one to the third one, and then from the second one to the fourth one, and then the first and third will slide back when the bed's away and come forward, and the second and fourth will be fixed into place.
So we spent far too long thinking about the maths of this, but basically we need to make sure that when the front one and the front one at the back move forward to expand the bed, that the slats which are joining those two and also joining the two fixed pieces are the same length, and when they move to the front we're not getting this rear aluminium strut hitting the front one before this one gets to where we need it to be at the front, if that makes sense. So it's all got to be equal. The way we did that in the end was to basically measure the center point of the whole width of the bed and make sure that this the front fixed strut, the rear of it is on the center point here, and that means that the distance from the back to this point, which is the fixed part of the bed, is exactly the same as the distance from the back of the movable part to the very front of the bed, and then that whole thing will move forward, come up to the back of here, and it'll all be perfect.
So the way we're going to secure the slats to the aluminium strut is to use these little M6 adapters. So they basically slot into the gap in here, and then the slat will come across on top of it, and they've got an M6 bolt that will go through there, screw into that and pull it tight and in place on the aluminium strut. That's the plan, and then we can repeat that across the whole thing. It should hold it securely in place.
Okay, so that worked out quite well. I've got the M6 bolts here, which I don't know if you can see actually, probably not. Then holding in place with those little bracket things below, and then we've got the rear one coming to the second from the front here, and that's going to be fixed, and then this one with the very front one to the second one in the back there, and then this will come forward like this, and once they're running all the way across, it will hold everything square.
24 slats later and we've got ourselves a bed. So this is it in day mode. The bed's all the way back. This will be the seat, giving us loads of space in the main living area. And then at night we will simply pull the bed out to here to give us a pretty much a double bed width and length for our bed for the evening. And yeah, it's looking really good, nice and sturdy. So we're really pleased with it. Before we could fix the bed in place in its final position, we needed to apply a finish to the lower area of the cutouts that's currently just plywood and pine. So we decided to use the 4-way stretch auto carpet. That's applied using spray-on high temperature adhesive. It's quite a complicated area to actually apply carpet to, and this is the first time I ever did it, so it was kind of good fun in a very daunting, scary way, but actually it went okay. I cut the carpet to the right size, or broadly the right size, and then attached it in parts, leaving the very end pieces to the very end because they were quite complicated. For those, I literally just cut each bit of carpet very carefully and folded it back on itself so that I could then glue it into place. And luckily with this carpet, where two bits kind of run up next to each other, if you're very careful and cut them very close, it kind of looks like a continuous piece of carpet once it's all glued at the end.
Now we've got our bed in place, the final thing to do is to get our mattress. So we bought a fairly cheap memory foam mattress from Amazon, a Euro double size, so it's 140 centimeters across and 200 centimeters long. So we need to do a bit of trimming on that, and then around the edges, and we've built the angle part at the back there to give us a bit of extra width on the mattress. So we're going to do that now, and then try it for size. We have a bed, we're going away this weekend, a little bit early in the van, but we wanted to have the mattress in place, and it's great. It feels like loads of space in here, really pleased with it. I think it's a bit tight in places, so we can hack around with it a bit more in the future. Also, when the bed's finished, this will be split in two down the middle, so it can stack up on top of each other when the bed's away. But for now, this will be perfect. It'll see us through this weekend. And yeah, so we just need to get a sheet on and make it cozy.
We wanted to finish the bed off at the front with a nice bed front. This will hold the mattress into place. It won't go high on the mattress, so it won't really provide support for us, but it'll make it look nice and also give us something to hold when we pull the bed out. So we used 12mm ply, and then we used a template to drill holes consistently along the face of it. Then we aligned those carefully in the aluminium extrusion and used the little bolt connector things, slotted those into place, and used M6 bolts countersunk in the front to attach the piece onto it, finally carpeting it to provide that finished look. Bring this video to an end here. Hope you found it useful in terms of how we thought about, designed, made a few mistakes, rectified and finished our sliding bed. As I said at the beginning, this is a medium wheelbase van, an L2 Ducato, so it means that we needed to either compromise on our day space to have a fixed double bed or think of something a bit more creative. So our sliding bed idea works really well. It means in the day mode the bed is back and we've got the seat in front of it, and then in night mode the bed slides out. The mattresses, which are stacked on top of each other, go next to each other, and that gives us just over a double bed width and a double bed length as we go out into the cutouts. So it really helps us get the best of both worlds, and it's a super comfy bed. Pleased that we used the aluminium extrusion for the widthways struts on the bed. That's super strong and lightweight as well, and nice to be able to reuse some of the excess material for the ceiling on the slats. Part of the same process of building the bed was actually building and thinking about the cutouts to give us that extra space. So I've got some footage of what we did there and how we thought about and built those. So I'll put that together in the following video so you can see how that came together. And hopefully then between this video and that one, you'll be able to kind of work out how we built the whole thing at the rear part of the van. If you found this video useful and interesting, love to hear what you think in the comments below. Please consider subscribing to our channel. You can also check us out on Instagram at ourvanplan for all the latest on our build, and we'll see you next time.